Hello, welcome back to our two-part episode of morphology. Some people have a really hard time with morphology, so if you think about starting out with the root is starting out with the main part of the word, which here would be establish, and then branch out from there. You can go left, you can go right, and you're adding different affixes to it, right? Different morphemes. So anti-disestablishmentarianism has how many morphemes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a lot. Very long word. Let's talk about branding again. Do you think this really relates to what I'm discussing? So if a company picks a name that has the ability to be added onto, is that more important than, and I mean, is it important in the sense that did the company Uber really think about, oh, well, now people are going to start adding on to that word, or Google, right? I don't know. How long can words get? Well, we looked at anti-establishmentarianism, that's 6 morphemes. We have antibacterial, which is 3. I hope you can see the red is a prefix. Bacteria is purple, that's the root. And then ul is a suffix, and that's a morpheme. Is that a bound morpheme? Yeah, because al doesn't exist on its own, or ul, or however you pronounce it. Anti still doesn't really exist on its own. I could say I'm anti, but usually you need to add something onto that. But bacterial, or bacteria, that part is the root. Then you have a legalize, same thing, legal. In the middle is the actual root. Ill and eyes. And then the fun word. Okay. So hopefully that explains a little bit more of morphemes for you. So now we're going to talk about morphological processes. This is really interesting if you're into at all writing or reading, or if you're learning a new language. It really helps with being able to see what the root of the word is and then move on from there. It helps with your comprehension, right, as well as with expressing yourself. Even if it's not right, even if it's not actually a word, the other person, the native speaker, will understand what you're saying because you're making the effort to add on morphemes to make your point, right? So, morphological processes, we have compounding, reduplication, alternation, and suppletion. So let's look at that a little bit more in depth. Compounding, you're combining 2 or more independent words. I would say non-versation is not really independent, but I liked it anyway. Newspaper, you have the word news and paper, but when you put it together, that's actually one word with one meaning, right? It's one word that has 2 morphemes, 2 free morphemes, right? News and paper. Yeah. Moon and light. Life, time. But lifetime means something different from life and time. Yeah. I'm not sure about jigsaw. I have to look that one up. Reduplication is another kind of morphological process. Doubling. If you say bye-bye. You are doubling an entire free morpheme or part of it. I think that also this would make sense. Right now. You're saying right now, this is what my son does. He says, are you coming now? Right now? Right now? and I say, I guess that means like in a couple minutes. I don't know. So he has his own way of talking. Then we have alternations, which are making internal modifications on the morpheme to mark morphological distinctions such as child and children, deer, a deer, deer, plural, foot, feet, fish, fish. Oh. So we have those man and min. Like, who came up with that? I don't know. Suppletion is another type. You have inflected forms. Remember what inflection is? Inflected forms that are phonetically unrelated to. So this is the great English verb to go. Goes. The S form is actually ES, and then the ing form, going, which is not really related to the ES, right? Then we have go, 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 and then we have went instead of goed, which would make more sense. Or I have gone. Where did that come from? So that's suppletion. Again, let's think about this. Now we have types of language. Analytic language. There are two different types of language. One is analytic and one is synthetic. And then under synthetic, we'll review different types. So analytic is made up of single morphemes, such as in Chinese. Yeah? Analytic. I, all. Sorry, can't see it. Oh, possessive. Friend, all, want, eat, chicken, egg. My friends all want to eat eggs. Then we have, so that's analytic, putting certain parts together, but they're all separate morphemes. Then you have synthetic, which is bound morphemes and others. So words can be made up of just one or several meaningful elements, right? The three different types of synthetic languages are fusional, in which words are formed by adding bound morphemes to stems. So, for example, in Spanish, the conjugation of the verb, the last part of the verb, which is added on to as a suffix, has meaning, right? So you're adding a bound morpheme to the stem. Agglutinative or agglutinating, morphemes are joined loosely, so it's easy to identify the boundaries between them. So, for example, Turkish, yeah. And then we have polysynthetic, which are highly complex. And you're making nouns into verbs. So he is fish catching, he tiger hunts. Maybe we could put soul drives, she soul drives. I don't know. If only you had not been able to make him take it all out from under me again for them. And you have to say all this, which I don't know how to say. Wow. Okay, so that's synthetic, polysynthetic. And now we're going to look at different types of morphological change. This part is really fun. So we have paradigm leveling, back formation, folk etymology, and then adding new words. Okay. Paradigm leveling, you're eliminating the exception. So you're creating a new inflected or derived term. So if you have climb, the verb climb used to be known as I clomb the mountain. But somebody said, that doesn't really make sense. So let's just make it not an exception. Let's say climbed. And then fit, some of you probably even say fit in the past tense. Fitted. So all these are ED, right? Light. Lit or lighted? Which one do you say? Because lighted is accepted. Is it sneaked or snuck? And dive. Dove. We used to say dove, and now we can say dived. Interesting. Write. Righted. No, we still don't do that. Wrote. So if you hear a little kid saying, I righted it down, that actually makes more sense than wrote. Imagine that. Back formation's another kind. You're creating a new stem form through reanalysis. So worker comes from work. Burglar comes from burgle. So now you can use burgle, right? Another here, the non-affix form is derived later. So you say babysitter, that's the, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? But actually, babysitter came first. And then they went back to babysit, right? Editor came first, and now we say the editor edits. Yeah. Okay. Folk etymology. This is obscure morphemes that are reanalyzed into more familiar morphemes. So, for example, here they talk about a burger because you have a hamburger. Actually, hamburger's from German, right? But now we've shortened it to burger. And now we have burger, and we add on to burger. Cheeseburger, we don't say cheese hamburger. Tofu burger, tofu hamburger would make no sense, right? And then others of folk etymology are just by sound. If you say gardener snake, a lot of folks say garter snake. It's easier. Gardener, garter. And Alzheimer's, I know you've heard this one, old-timers disease. So that's folk etymology. Then we have adding new words. And then there's a whole bunch of different kinds of this. So let's go through it real quick. Think about word, and that's part of branding as well, right? Okay, acronyms. Acronyms are adding new words. NATO, laser. Radar is actually an acronym. Now it's a word. OMG is actually kind of a word now, so these are all acronyms. LOL, right? JK, WTF. Then you have blends, which are brunch, smog, brunch, breakfast, lunch, right? Smog, smoke and fog. Chortle, what do you think? Urinalysis, I like that one. Clipping's the process of cutting off the beginning or the end of the word, and then you leave a part to stand as the whole word. Think about branding here. LA Clippers. So clipping, we used to say examination, now it's exam. Taxi used to be what? I don't remember. And then dormitory, right? Fax from facsimile. And I want to add one to this, which is a little bit different, I think, because it's actually taking a bound morpheme but making it a new word. Dis. She dissed me. Yeah. Disrespect. But we just say dis. Interesting. Coinages. Kodak, if you guys know that, or Instagram or anything, no? Exxon, we could say snap. How about on fleek? Is that a coinage? Well, it's not really like a brand or a certain type. What is on fleek? You can look it up in Urban Dictionary. You can't look up fleek, though. It has to be on fleek. So is on part of the word? That's crazy, right? There's others here: aspirin, nylon, Kleenex, Xerox, Google. Yeah, that's a big one. Uber. Adding new words. Here we have conversion. So going from verb to noun or noun to verb. Laugh is a laugh now. Run. Now you can say, I went on a run. Buy. It's a goodbye. Yeah. Noun to verb. So contrast and contrast. Process. I'm processing the payment. It's a certain process to process the payment. Yeah. Okay. So you're adding new words, but actually what you're doing is adding another part of speech, right? Okay. Then you have eponyms. So you're looking at new words based on the name of a person or place. I don't know if you've ever heard of Earl of Sandwich. It's an actual company that sells sandwiches. So Sandwich was named after Earl of Sandwich, which I didn't know. And then Fahrenheit was named after somebody. Washington, D.C. Yeah. Kaiser. Okay. So think about the branding. Just think about it. I don't want to necessarily give you all the answers. So here we have a Ford F-150. I was thinking, okay, well, the Soul, that's an actual name, S-O-U-L, and then Mustang. But then we have a number, F-150, which apparently people who invent car names like the numbers. I don't really understand it. So you have the 150, F-150, it has to be F. What does that mean? So marketing now in a different country, here in the United States, we say it's American made, and this is actually part of semantics, of sociolinguistics as well. That if you get a certain feeling from a word, or a certain feeling from somebody saying, oh, it's American made, then that's actually part of the product, right? Or part of the word, its connotation. But then I looked it up in Spanish, and it's not called F-150, it's Ford Lobo. Why didn't they just stay with 150? They're doing Lobo now. Well, Lobo means wolf, so makes sense. Till next time.